3-2 Regiment Royal Artillery have, for the first time in 9 years, formed up as a regiment and marched through the centre of Salisbury. The Army's Eye in the Sky Regiment has had at least one sub-unit deployed on operations continuously since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. James Banks reports.
For many of the soldiers of 3-2 Regiment Royal Artillery, this was the first time that they had ever marched together as a regiment. As they took to the streets of Salisbury, they were greeted by cheering crowds who had turned out to thank them for almost a decade of deployments to both Iraq and Afghanistan.
The regiment's been deployed on operations in Iraq and or Afghanistan for 8 years and 9 months. And we've been providing the vital airborne surveillance to the British Army, wherever they've been serving. And we've been responsible really for giving them that situational awareness, which has helped to give the soldiers on the ground the situational awareness and helping them to win the battles.
Over the last decade, the kit and equipment used by the British Army has come on leaps and bounds, mostly spurred on due to the high operational tempo. The men and women of 3-2 Regiment Royal Artillery have been at the very forefront of these technological advances. When the regiment deployed to Iraq in 2003, they were using the antiquated Phoenix unmanned aircraft. But since then, they've retrained on 4 different and technically demanding systems involving training all over the world. But as technology moves forward, so must the regiment, and they're soon to replace the current Hermes 450 aircraft with the much anticipated Watchkeeper unmanned air system.
The kit now is, in my opinion, is fantastic for what we get. You don't really want for anything. You don't need to go, before we used to go and buy our own boots, you don't really need to do that now. The kit is first class.
The soldiers from Larkhill will now take a brief rest from operational commitments as 4-7 Regiment Royal Artillery takes on the commitments in Afghanistan.
Hopefully now we can spend a bit more time back in the UK because it's been busy, both with Iraq and Afghan. Hopefully now we'll settle down and we can spend a bit more time with our families.
But this is not a time for relaxation. 2-2 Battery are currently preparing to deploy on Op Herrick 16 when the regiment will once again be divided between Wiltshire and Helmand. James Banks, Forces News, Salisbury.